Imagine this: the front door creaks open after a long day, and before a single word is spoken, a dog trots forward with wide shining eyes. Instantly, their front paws stretch out in front, chest low to the ground, tail curled skyward like a fluffy flag. They hold the pose with a slight tail, wiggle their body, forming a half bow, half stretch, as if to say, "Welcome back." It's not a coincidence. It's a moment filled with emotion, communication, and intention. Think your dog's just having a casual stretch? Think again. This simple move may be one of the purest emotional gestures in the animal kingdom. This kind of stretch isn't just about loosening limbs or waking up muscles. It's your dog's way of expressing happiness, excitement, and a powerful emotional connection. Misunderstanding or ignoring it means missing out on one of the most affectionate messages your dog sends. Interpreting this behavior correctly opens a door to deeper connection and trust. Stick around to decode what this behavior really means and why understanding it could transform your relationship with your dog. Part 1: Decoding the Stretch. What's really happening? This specific pose is known as the play bow. It's a position where the front half of the dog's body is lowered, elbows to the floor, while the rear stays upright and tail high. To the untrained eye, it may resemble a stretch after a nap, but in truth, it's a well-recognized signal in the world of dog behavior. At a basic level, yes, this position does help loosen up the muscles and release tension, especially after resting or staying still. But more than that, it's packed with emotional cues. This isn't a reflexive physical act, it's loaded with intention and meaning. The behavior is deeply rooted in canine evolution. Among wolves and wild dogs, a similar stretch or bow is used during social interactions within the pack. It's often a way to reinforce trust and signal peaceful intentions. The gesture essentially says, "I mean no harm. I want to interact and I'm excited to be near you." It's important to understand the difference between a general stretch and one directed specifically at you. If a dog finishes sleeping, yawns, and stretches with no interaction, fine, that's likely a simple muscle engagement. But when a dog hears the jingle of keys or the sound of a familiar voice, and then runs up to you, lowers into this pose while making eye contact or wagging its tail, this is communication. This is an invitation. Part 2: Emotional Intelligence in Dogs. Why they use body language. Dogs don't use words to share their thoughts or feelings. They use posture, facial expression, energy, and routine. Their emotional intelligence isn't any less rich than ours. It's just expressed through different channels. This is why body language is the cornerstone of canine communication. Stretching, particularly when used as a greeting, is often directed at people. Dogs know well and trust it's rare for a dog to play bow to a stranger. It typically happens when they feel secure, emotionally relaxed, and eager to connect. Scientifically, stretching in emotionally charged moments like seeing someone they love can trigger the release of endorphins. These are natural feel-good chemicals that reduce stress and increase pleasure. For dogs, this moment of stretching is both a physical release and an emotional signal, a rush of happiness manifesting through movement. Think of it this way: just like humans might smile or reach out to hug someone they missed, dogs stretch toward those they love. It's one of their clearest ways of saying, "I'm happy you're here." Part 3: The stretch as a social greeting. So why does this specific stretch often happen when you walk through the door? It's not random. It's a clear and consistent behavior for many dogs because it combines emotion, habit, and pack dynamics. In the canine world, the return of a beloved pack member is cause for excitement. Your arrival home triggers emotional anticipation built up during your absence. Stretching in your direction is a socially coded greeting, a mix of joy, relief, and eagerness. Among wild canines, pack members greet each other with subtle body language to show friendliness, acknowledge each other's return, and restore social harmony. The play bow is a gentler version of that instinct, modernized for household dogs. More than just hello, this behavior is often a direct invitation to interact. Whether it's play cuddles or just sitting nearby, the stretch signals, "I'm open, I'm happy. Let's reconnect." If you look closely, the timing is always precise, just as you return home, just as they see you after a separation. It's a warm and instinctive reintroduction. Part 4: Misinterpretations and missed signals. One common mistake is assuming that a stretching dog is simply waking up or feeling stiff. That might be true after sleep, But when a dog greets you with this posture and you misread it as laziness or routine, you risk missing a powerful opportunity for emotional connection. Another mistake is ignoring it entirely. Many owners don't realize this behavior is directed at them, so they pass by without acknowledgement. But dogs are incredibly sensitive to human response. When they stretch toward you and receive no reaction, it can feel like a missed handshake or an unanswered hug. Over time, if these gestures go unreciprocated, some dogs may reduce how often they offer them, not out of spite, but simply because the communication loop feels incomplete. What seems like a small action from the human side can mean a lot from the dog's perspective. Part 5. How to respond when your dog does this. The best way to respond when your dog stretches in this way is to acknowledge it not with over-the-top excitement, but with soft and clear communication. Start by making eye contact and saying their name in a gentle, happy tone. This reinforces that their gesture was noticed and appreciated. You can also respond physically. Kneel down, offer a calm head rub, or mirror their stretch with playful movement. These small interactions signal that you're open and engaged. If you have the time, follow up with a few minutes of play. Even a short session with their favorite toy or a brief walk around the yard strengthens the positive association. This moment becomes a ritual of connection, one that your dog will cherish and repeat. These kinds of responses form an emotional feedback loop. When your dog stretches and receives warmth in return, the bond deepens. This creates a cycle of trust and affection that supports your dog's emotional health and increases their confidence in communication. Part 6, when it's not just a greeting, stretching with other meanings. Not every stretch your dog does is an emotional greeting. Sometimes it's simply functional or even a sign that something deeper is going on. For instance, a common and healthy form of stretching occurs in the morning, when your dog first wakes up. Much like humans, dogs instinctively stretch after sleep to realign their spine, reactivate their joints, and get their blood flowing. This type of stretch is typically slow, relaxed, and usually not directed at anyone. It's just their way of resetting after rest. However, if the stretch is rigid or appears uncomfortable, it could indicate pain. A dog experiencing physical discomfort, whether from sore muscles, an upset stomach, or even joint problems, might perform what's called a prayer stretch, where the front half of their body lowers while their hips remain high. While this is similar to the playbow, it differs in that the posture may appear strained and is often repeated without any invitation to interact. If your dog is stretching frequently but doesn't look playful or excited, especially if it's followed by limping or restlessness, it's worth consulting a veterinarian. Another variation occurs after rest periods. If a dog stretches but avoids eye contact and doesn't follow up with social cues, it's usually just a standard physical adjustment. This is particularly true in older dogs or those waking from deep sleep. The key difference is context. Playful or social stretches are interactive, while recovery stretches are solitary and functional. In certain cases, stretching may even be a self-soothing behavior during stress. Dogs who are anxious or unsure, especially in unfamiliar environments or around new people, might stretch as a way to release nervous energy. It's not a lie down and relax kind of stretch, but more of a tension management behavior, similar to pacing or lip licking. If you notice your dog stretching often in unfamiliar places, look for other stress signals like yawning, tucked tail, or flattened ears. Part 7. How breed age and personality affect this gesture. Just like humans, dogs have individual differences that affect how and why they stretch. Breed plays a big role. High-energy breeds like Border Collies, Labrador Retrievers, and Australian Shepherds tend to stretch more frequently, often using it as a prelude to play or exercise. Their stretching is animated, bouncy, and usually paired with other energetic cues. For these dogs, stretching is like revving the engine before a race. It's part of their daily rhythm. On the other hand, elderly dogs may stretch with more caution. For aging pups, stretching might be less about play and more about loosening up stiff joints or easing mild discomfort. When observing an older dog, take note of how smooth or hesitant their movements are. Stretching that looks slow-limited or accompanied by a slight tremble could indicate underlying arthritis or muscle fatigue. Personality also comes into play. Introverted or shy dogs may still stretch in greeting, but their gestures are more subtle. They might stretch quietly near you without making direct eye contact, still hoping for a connection, but expressing it in a reserved way. Reading their body language closely helps ensure you don't miss these quieter attempts at bonding. With puppies, stretching often appears as mimicry. Young dogs watch and imitate older dogs or humans, and stretching can become part of their social toolkit. It's also a trust-building gesture. They're learning how to say, "I'm friendly and I'm comfortable" without words. For puppies, stretching is as much about learning to communicate as it is about loosening their limbs. Part 8. How to use this behavior to strengthen your bond. One of the most beautiful aspects of the playbow or greeting stretch is that it invites connection. Owners can build on this by mirroring the energy their dog is offering. If your dog stretches toward you, lean down, engage with a cheerful tone, or mimic their motion in a playful way. Dogs thrive on synchronicity. It signals harmony and makes them feel understood. Timing is also everything. When your dog stretches as you walk through the door, that's the perfect moment to reinforce your bond. A few words, a belly rub, or a quick toss of a toy right after the stretch builds a ritual of joy. Over time, your dog begins to associate your presence with safety play and reward. This ritual strengthens trust, and you'll likely find your dog repeating it with even more enthusiasm each day. Consider building a simple routine. Your dog stretches. You say a greeting word. You give a scratch or pat. You play fetch or share a moment of attention. This turns an everyday behavior into a predictable positive interaction that deepens emotional attachment. Part 9. Related behaviors that signal joy and trust. The greeting stretch doesn't stand alone. It often comes with other subtle cues that reflect a happy bonded dog. For example, the combination of a tail wag and a stretch is a strong indicator of joyful anticipation. The wag might be slow and wide or quick and high, but either way, it amplifies the meaning of the gesture. You might also notice direct eye contact during the stretch. When a dog holds a bow and looks directly at you, they're not just stretching, they're engaging, checking in, and waiting for your response. This kind of mutual gaze builds oxytocin, the love hormone in both dogs and humans. Some dogs add vocal cues to the mix, like a soft growl bark, or even a playful sneeze immediately after stretching. These sounds usually follow the bow and act as further invitations to interact. Another signal to look for is forward-leaning posture, with ears in a relaxed or slightly perked position. This shows excitement and openness without tension. Your show is inviting, not alerting. Part 10, when to be concerned. While stretching is often healthy and positive, there are a few red flags that suggest something might be wrong. If your dog begins stretching repeatedly throughout the day without any signs of excitement or play, it could signal internal discomfort. This is especially concerning if the dog doesn't engage afterward or avoids food and interaction. Another warning sign is if your dog's back legs appear stiff, they groan during the stretch, or they suddenly freeze halfway through the motion. These could be signs of musculoskeletal pain, spinal issues, or abdominal discomfort. Pay attention if stretching is paired with changes in appetite, unusual lethargy, or mood shifts. When in doubt, a veterinary checkup is the safest route to ensure that stretching remains a happy, healthy part of your dog's life, not a cry for help. A stretch isn't just a stretch. It's a hello, a hug, a smile, and sometimes even a conversation. It's your dog's way of saying, "I missed you," or "Let's be together." Recognizing and honoring this small moment can turn a simple routine into a deeply emotional exchange. So next time you walk through the door and your dog greets you with that signature bow, don't brush it off as just another stretch. That gesture is packed with meaning and trust. Respond with kindness, attention, and presence. Your dog isn't just warming up. They're warming up to you. Which of your dog's greetings makes your heart melt? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to hit subscribe to understand your dog better. Love them deeper and decode more of their beautiful behavior. One video at a time.